Amber and I lived in this warehouse on 4th Street, where 3rd Street was the train tracks and 1st Street was the bay. We lived across the street from this incredibly toxic egg factory. I never want to live across the street from an egg factory again.
Josh, you're here.
I highly recommend against it. There's nothing between us and the train tracks except this empty parking lot. So when the train went by every day, and it was the big California Metro liner that ran up and down the coast. Big fucking train. And it would go by 4, 5, 6 times a day and into the night. And when it went by, the whole building would shake. And when the whistle blew and then the whistle faded into the distance, it was the coolest sound I ever heard. The place itself was like this 4-story chimney, just like the size of one room, but straight up. And on the 3rd floor where we mostly hung out, there was this thing coming down off the wall. It was like a 6-foot by 6-foot metal grating with all these holes in it, little pinholes. And it hung about 10 feet in the air, and it was suspended down off the wall, so it kind of hung over our heads. And there was a switch below it, and when you turned it on, it would go click, 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 click. And then the whole fucking thing would burst into flames. So you had this 6-foot wall of fire, about 10 feet in the air, hanging down over our heads. It was literally the single most unsafe heating system ever invented. I've never seen another one of those. I don't know what the fuck they were thinking. But every night when we came home, like, wasted in the middle of the night, it just looked so fucking cool hanging up there. We used to just turn it on, turn it off, turn it on, turn it off. I couldn't drive a car that drunk, but I could drive that heating system. It looked like the whole sky was on fire, or at least this window into it. And when we spend our days rummaging through all the used bins for records in Oakland and Berkeley and San Francisco, and we didn't have much money because they sure as shit weren't paying us any to play music right then. And we would walk up to the 99-cent store in San Pablo, and we'd buy these bashed-in boxes of macaroni and cheese and these dented cans of Progresso soup or Campbell's soup and ramen. Shitload of ramen. I know you know what I mean. And that's like how we spend our days, but at night, man, and I mean every night, we would go out and we would play music, or we would rehearse to play music, or we would watch our friends play music.
Okay, I found them.
But at a time when I couldn't figure out how the hell I was going to get from being a kid to being an adult, our nights were swaddled and blanketed and wrapped up in volume in these shitty, tiny, awesome clubs in San Francisco. We plugged in and played music every night, stepped on pedals and smashed cymbals, and created this blanket of volume, and those are the sounds that carried us from childhood to adulthood. The sound of electric guitars, the sound of squealing keyboards and crashing cymbals. And so every night we went out over and over again to make this noise. The loudest fucking sounds we could make, and just hoped that someone would notice us. And then you did. And somehow you still do, which is, that is the kind of shit that will get you from there to here. So there's this girl on a car,
What is this?
out in the parking lot.
Oh, I got that earlier when I said
And she says, man, come on, just take a shot. She says, can you see me? Can you see me? And can you see that my walls crumbling down? Can you see my walls tumbling down? Well, I saw the moon stop spinning around. I watched the sky go blue, black, green, gray, brown. girl on a car in the parking lot says, man, you should try to take a shot. Did you see my walls just crumbling? And then she looks up at the door and she says, hey, I'm thinking of jumping. She says she's tired of life. We're all tired of something right here. She's always on my mind. Not here. Hey man, I got a lot of time. Around here, we're never sensible.